Hello everyone, welcome to Flores Learning. Today's topic is what is subquery in SQL, right? So a subquery in SQL is a query that is embedded within another query. It's often used to solve more complex problem that requires multiple layers of data filtering or calculation. Now subqueries can be thought of as inner queries which provide data for the main or outer query. Now they are versatile and can return a single value, a list of values, or even an entire table. Okay, so that's what subqueries in a SQL. Okay, all I written in one place. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Now, type of subqueries. So subqueries come in different form based on their functionality. First is single row subquery. So single row subqueries return one value and are used with comparison operators like equals or less than. Okay, so for example, there is select employee's name from employees where department ID therefore is equal to select department ID from department when department name equals to cell. So what this query does actually? So basically the query first go for the inner query. So basically a department select department ID, we get the department ID from the department where department name is sales. That is, we get that those department ID whose department name is sales. Okay, now after getting the department ID we go for that outer query, that employee name from employees where department ID this. Basically whatever we get, that we select that employee name, okay, from the employee table where that department ID, and which department ID, that department ID whose department name is sales. That kind of thing happens here. Okay, now go for another type of subquery, which is multi-row query. Now multi-row subquery जो है, multi-row subquery returns multiple values and work well with in or any operator, right? Now in, any, all this kind of operator use. Okay, now here पहले जो था single row subquery, so it's give a return one single value but it return multiple values. Okay, now the third type of query is correlated subquery. Now correlated subqueries are unique as they depend on the outer query for execution. Okay, so it depends on the outer query for execution. So that's the outer query, and so basically it select employee name from employees. That is, what is that aliases. I have already told aliases in join, right? In the join video I have there's a separate slide on aliases, how, what is the purpose of aliasing, how can you use in aliases for columns, for table, this kind of thing. If you don't watch that video, please go to the joins, and there I mentioned that what is aliases, this kind of thing. Okay, now select employee name from employees where salary. Then there is a inner query. It's, that's is correlated query. Okay, so depend on the outer query for execution. Okay, now next go to the last type of subquery, which is nested subquery. Now the nested subquery does, as the name suggests, are subqueries within another subquery, which allow for very complex query building. Okay, so there's a query and query subqueries inside another subquery. Okay, so this is the nested subquery. So what does it this mean? This example means that, okay, first go to the inner query. See, select department ID from department where department names are IT. Okay, so we get that department ID whose department name is IT. Okay, now from that department ID, we take that average salary of the employees. That department ID, choose that employees and select that, choose that salary and take the average of salary. And now extract that employee's name whose salary is greater than that average salary. Okay, so that's nested subquery. Okay, now why use subqueries? Okay, so uses of subqueries. So subqueries are extremely useful for simplifying complex query, making them easier to read and maintain. Now they help break down large problem into smaller, more manageable queries. Okay, so and helps with calculation or data filtering, right? And supports dynamic querying. For example, you can use a subquery to dynamically calculate the average price of products and filter only those that are more expensive than the average. In the previous slide I have already told you that choose that employee's name whose employee's salary is greater than average salary. And how can we get that employees whose department ID is the IT department? So that's kind of so subqueries add a powerful layer to flexibility to SQL querying. Okay, so let's go to the MySQL workbench to check each and every comment. How can it work? Okay, so now basically we use also here the database tutorial, and now create table. There's a table called department, there's a table called employees. So I created the table. And how can you create the table? I already told in the previous videos so many times that each and every video is interrelated to each other. So please don't miss any of the video. Just check SQL playlist and watch one by one. That you get, definitely you will feel confident about the SQL. Okay, now then insert values into department. Now insert values into employees table also. Okay, so I inserted all the values, department 1, employees 1. Now from select employees from employees 1, and department ID from departments 1, where department name is sales. Okay, just select, sorry, S is missing, right? Okay, so employee name is Alice and Bob, and check that Alice and Bob and they are not in the sales department. Okay, so just checking that. How can you check that the department there is sales? See, there is department, there is sales department, right? So sales is 1, department ID is 1. And now check the department ID 1 for which employee's ID. So department ID 1 for Alice, department ID 1 for Bob. So that's why employee name is Alice are there. Okay, so that's how you can check whenever you just starting your SQL journey. So just write, मतलब just छोटे छोटे कॉलम में इंसर्ट करो. ओके, जस्ट टेक स्मॉल नंबर ऑफ records so that you can check that whether your query is working or not. Okay, so that kind of thing. Now next go to the types of subquery. There is multi-row query, right? So okay, so I have changed the name employees to employee 1 because there's a problem we have already created in the previous video. So that's why it makes a problem. So that's why I changed that employee to employee 1 and department to department 1. See, there is employee name where locations is new work. Okay, so now for जैसे मैंने ये सिंगल लो क्वेरी के लिए तुमको दिखा दिया कि कैसे तुम चेक कर सकते हो, ऐसे ही ये इसको भी चेक करके देखो कि हाँ न्यूयॉर्क लोकेशन, जस्ट चेक ऑन द न्यूयॉर्क. सो न्यूयॉर्क के लिए इधर क्या है देखो, न्यूयॉर्क इज फॉर डिपार्टमेंट ID 1. And now we have to check that for department ID 1, what is the employee's name. Now for department ID 1, the employee's name, see, Alice, Bob are there. Okay, so this kind of thing you have to check. Okay, so how you can check I have already mentioned. So now, and also there is New York for HR department and department ID is 3. So now 1 is also Alice and Bob, that's why Alice and Bob are there. And for ये देखो जो department ID 3, there is Abe and Frank, so that's why employee name Alice, Bob, Abe and Frank are there. Okay, so that's how you can check. Okay, so now there is a talks homework that just check that correlated subquery. Okay, just take a screenshot of the example of correlated subquery and then take a screenshot of nested subquery. Okay, and why use subqueries, let's go to them. So, and there is a homework that please go to the correlated and nested subquery by do it by yourself. And if you have any doubts, then please leave a comment on the comment section. And